Okay, let's see. Trying again. Okay, last time we were in the studies of the E. coli and coliform bacteria. We covered from mussels in different area. So we were doing our students' paper. To recap, we were studying the mussel in different area, if you remember. So I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to do as well much as I can. So we identified the hypothesis of this paper, right? So basically, if you remember that we are looking at all the different areas. So we're going into the slide again. I'm not going to repeat all the slide. We said this harbor. Very different. The one inside here with the title. That's why they are very slow. And so the main area we're studying is the Guyang Creek. There's a harbor island, Salt Acre, and also a very clean water called Rick Sanctuary. So we give you this picture. And now when last time we were up to is actually the hypothesis, which is very important here. So because you must know the hypothesis in order to identify the hypothesis and do your homework. So here you can see, try to adjust the light, it's not very good. The hypothesis that here is the H0, remember H0 means no effect. The slow water flow rate in Guyang Creek has no relationship to the bacterial level found in the mussel. However, we are really not to say, oh, we are testing there's no relationship. Instead, H1 is the most important. It's the slow water flow rate in Guyang Creek cause the high level of bacteria found in the mussel. What does that mean? That means that the slower the water they're floating in that Guyang Creek cause the accumulation with the bacteria in the mussel. So this is very important because that's what we are studying. However, in order to show you, there's actually a H0 here. We put it in the presentation. But the paper that you're reading, my student's paper, you will not see a H0 there. We said that H0 has no effect. Rarely that in scientific paper, we're looking at something that no effect. So you will see the hypothesis is embedded in the paper. The slow water flow rate in Guyang Creek cause high level of bacteria found in the mussel. This is what we want to test, and this is our goal. Okay, all right, so next. So there's other goal in the research. We look at the mussel, the bacteria, look at the site that if there are high level bacteria, the main goal is the correlation of the water flow rate with the amount of the bacteria. And possibly, we are hoping to identify the source for the contamination, but sometimes you may not get to it. So in the material method, I'm not going to read all this to bore you because the main goal on this paper, we're trying to identify the hypothesis. So usually in the method, they will tell you where they collected, the site we mentioned, how do you measure these mussels? You measure them, you weigh them. So we get the meat, how do you grind them up? And then, so how do you get the bacteria out? So this is type of plate, you don't need to worry about it. I will not ask you in the exam. These are just the plate that we're using that in the in this paper. When you put the water on there, if they appear as blue, then they're E. coli, and coliform is a type of the bacteria, also indication of the contamination of the water. So we will also mention statistical analysis. You sure do not need to know about this. This is way too much for you. So as we quickly go to the result on this paper, you will see the similar result in your paper format, but this one is just go by color. So what happened is that, I'm sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. Hopefully you're not getting dizzy right now. So if you're looking at it, you will see that these are the different length and the weight of the mussel, and with some standard deviation, because if you do a couple of them, you will see the difference between them. And then, this is very, very busy graph. And basically, if you look at it, it's the water flow rate. If you look at this teal color, which is a Rick Sanctuary, the flow rate is actually very high. The triangle one, which is a lower one, the flow rate is very, very low. So let's remember these two. The other two sandwiched in between, that is the Harbor Island and Salt Acre. So now remember, a moment before the triangle was all on the bottom. This time the triangle is all on the top. That means the Guyang Creek, which is the slow water flowway, has a lot of E. coli bacteria. Just the opposite. You see the Rick Sanctuary, the clean water, which flow very fast, now has the less bacteria. Looks very good, right? Another type of bacteria showing more or less the similar trend. A lot of the bacteria were found in the slow water flowway Guyang Creek and less bacteria in Rick Sanctuary. So now when they plot the correlation, this is a little bit harder to see, I apologize, but you also have a similar graph in the paper. Basically, they're plotting the relationship of all the amount of the E. coli versus the water flow rate. A similar graph with the coliform. So at the end, they conclude something. They conclude what? They found a lot of bacteria in that Guyang Creek. Also, the water flow rate was the lowest. They do some relationship, they found out they have pretty good correlation. So in the paper, they always have a discussion part. So what is the discussion part is that we will talk about, okay, who we said prince and princess. So mussel is a very, very good model. And then because why is they a good model? Because they're half shell. And we also found a lot of bacteria in those mussel collected from the Guyang Creek. On the other hand, the one which is flow very fast, that they have a lower amount of bacteria, So you can see the H0 hypothesis is rejected, right? We said that our goal is not to prove the H1, but to reject the H0. So this proves exactly what we are talking before. Now, in some discussion, we say, oh, why there's so much contamination? We say, okay, because we mentioned before the tidal flushing, that means that they're very inside harbor, they cannot get to flush. Then there's a lot of these animal, also the poultry, like the geese, the gulls, like these like bird around there, they provide a lot of fecal material. Maybe that's why that they have a very high contamination of the E. coli. And also there's like a sewage there. One of the students in your class know that there's sewage plant around there. Sometimes if it rains very hot, actually will concentrate the bacteria. So at the end, they always acknowledgement in the paper. So this is it. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to have another YouTube that to talk about what is in the exam. So, okay.